Hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Ansu. If you're new here, consider subscribing down below. Today I wanted to talk about my September reads. We're running by all these months so quickly, I don't know what to do with my life at this point. But I only ended up reading 4 books this month and most of them were fairly good, kind of, but let's talk about them. I actually got an early copy of this book from NetGalley as an audiobook, and this is called Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney. This released on August 29th, but I did end up finishing it up in September. This one took me a lot of time to get into, unfortunately. We're following around a couple of different perspectives. So about 20 years ago, there was a baby that was stolen, and also there was a murder that happened in a care home. And these two situations are somehow linked. So we have Edith, who has been tricked into a nursing home and she did not want to be there whatsoever. She's 80 years old and she's trying to plan her escape. But along the way, there's this woman named Patience who's also working at this care home, and she's cleaning up messes and essentially bonding with Edith. But the truth is, Patience is lying to Edith about almost everything about her existence. Edith has a daughter, Cleo, who is not talking to her really, but occasionally visits her, and Edith doesn't really feel that connection with her own daughter anymore. And there's someone new who kind of is going to visit Cleo, and their intentions are not fully good, and we're trying to figure out who this person is, why they're at Cleo's. They have all kinds of reasons to distrust each other, but they end up working together to solve this mystery, this murder mystery situation, because the wrong people might get arrested, and also Edith is missing. So we're trying to figure out this whole situation. It is definitely very weirdly interesting. Some of the plot twists that occur towards the end especially are pretty nice, but I don't know, man. I thought it was a little weird. It was kind of unbelievable. Like, I like thrillers to be almost believable in the sense that it could happen, and if it does happen in that way, it's just like very intricate and it's kind of scary to see it that way. And that's what I like about thrillers. And I ended up giving this 3 stars. The next one I ended up reading was Red Rising by Pierce Brown. You can applaud, it's fine, I'll wait. Thank you very much. Honestly, this took me like 3 years to read. I have picked this book up so many times, and it's very frustrating that I have never finished it. But this was the year and the month that I ended up finishing Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Again, I will let you applaud me the whole time. I do not mind at all. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. I know so many people are gonna come after me about that rating, but honestly, I don't get the hype. I really don't. Our main character, Darrow, who is in Mars, right? The Earth is dying, so they're in Mars, and they're these people. It's kind of like the Hunger Games, if you've read that. There are people in different like sectors. So we have the Reds who work tirelessly, and they are at the bottom of the pyramid, I guess. They don't get any food really. They get bare minimum rations. They're barely living. They're always told that the Reds are the humanity's last hope. There's also people called the Golds who are very rich essentially, and they're kind of controlling all these rations and everything, and they torture the people, the Reds. It is not good. It really isn't. We have Darrow kind of infiltrate the system and pretend to be Gold and try to take the system from within. That's what he's doing. I liked how this book ended. There's so much gruesomeness, like there's so much death, there's so much gore. Like, I don't know why you need that much gore in one book. Like, it's too much. But I understand like what this author was trying to convey. Will I read the rest of the trilogy? I probably will, just to see how it goes. Because I've heard that it just keeps getting better and better and better. And I don't know, we're not off to a great start, but it was still interesting enough that I think I might read the rest of the books. I also have the next 2 books in this trilogy, so I might as well just get to it. Yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a dud for me personally, but yeah, I still read it, and I'm very proud of myself. The next one I got to is Howl's Moving Castle by Dinah Jones. This one is a middle grade fantasy, and we're following around Sophie, who has the misfortune of being the oldest of 3 girls, and she's destined to fail miserably and just basically live at home forever. She kind of brings on the ire of the Witch of the Waste. We don't know why really, and she gets cursed into being an old woman, like a really crony old woman. She ends up kind of trying to figure out what she has to do. She goes on this walk to the always moving castle, Howl's Moving Castle, and essentially in that lives Howl, who is a wizard, and he has this reputation that he kind of tricks a bunch of women into falling in love with them and then ends up eating them or something. Like, it's a really bad reputation. And essentially she ends up going to Howl's castle. The story goes from there, and she realizes there's a lot more to Howl and herself, and they're just like kind of vibing. That's really it. It is an interesting story, but it's also kind of weird. Especially the ending, there's like a weird romance that happens. I'm just like, I don't understand how that happened. Like, I don't agree, but whatever. I know this is a series and there are a couple more books in the series, but this didn't do it for me. It was fine. I again give this 3 stars. This was the month of 3 stars apparently, but it was interesting enough for me to continue reading it. I don't know if I'll finish the rest of the series, honestly. As middle grade usually is, the audiobook was really fun to listen to because the characters have these voices that they put on and everything, and I thought that was very interesting. But other than that, really, I just didn't connect with the story. I didn't connect with Sophie. I just thought she didn't really have any kind of self-worth for the most part, and she barely figures it out towards the end. It's like a boom, I figured out that I have some self-worth, and I just found that to be almost unbelievable, and I didn't really care for it, unfortunately. But yeah, I did end up reading this one. I'm gonna say that it's fun, but it was not fully my cup of tea. I didn't thoroughly enjoy it, but it was fun enough. That's a very bad review. You get the gist. The final book I ended up reading in September was None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This one was much more interesting. I gave this 4 stars. Alex is celebrating her 45th birthday. Very fancy. She has a ton of friends and family just like celebrating her at this restaurant. And there's also another woman who kind of sees her called Josie Fair, who, as it turns out, is also turning 45 on the same day. So they're in fact birthday twins. A few days later, we have Alex and Josie. They kind of meet up again. We learn that Josie has been listening to Alex's podcast, and she thinks that she might have a really interesting idea for a podcast, and asks Alex if she would work with her to create this podcast. She's on the cusp of like big changes in her life. She thinks that Alex could potentially make a really good podcast out of it. Josie's life kind of appears to be very complicated, and Alex is intrigued by it, even though at first she's a little hesitant to really work with Josie. Alex seems very intrigued, and she approaches her. She starts this podcast called Hi, I'm Your Birthday Twin. And a lot of things happen. There's a couple of murders that occur in the way, and Josie kind of disappears. We're trying to figure out who committed these murders, why they committed it, all that kind of stuff. I don't like that the synopsis gives a little bit more away towards the end. I personally did not read that synopsis prior to reading the book because I like going into these blind, but I did not like that in the synopsis. I would say not to read that because it kind of gives it away, but it is a very interesting story. I really did enjoy this one, and it's very almost bone chilling. I really liked it. I highly recommend this. This is fairly new as well, so yeah, 4 stars. Alright, you guys, those are all the books that I read in the month of September. Most of the books that I read were 3 stars, which is not perfect, but honestly, like, I'm not even mad about it. I still ended up reading some. I didn't really expect to even finish these many books, so I'm happy about it. The biggest accomplishment, honestly, read Rising, so like, I'm not complaining. I did end up finishing these books, and I'm very happy that I did. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Ansu. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified every single time I upload a new video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all next time with another one. Until then, I'll talk to you in the comments. Bye!